Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel Learn with Yes. Today I am going to discuss the July month current affairs of VisionIAS 2023. And before watching this video, do watch the June month current affairs which I have already uploaded on my YouTube channel. And if you like this content, do support it by hitting that like button and do share these videos with your friends and fellow aspirants. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Let's quickly start the polity section of the July month current affairs. First one is Uniform Civil Code. Recently, the 22nd Law Commission of India sought suggestions on the Uniform Civil Code. What is Uniform Civil Code? Uniform Civil Code means, according to it, there should be single law applicable to all religious communities in civil matters. Okay, so as of now there are different laws present for different communities. So for example, for Hindu Succession Act 1956 and Muslim personal law, etc. And this Uniform Civil Code, if you remember, under DPSP, under DPSP's Article 44 mentions about Uniform Civil Code. This is not mentioned here. And the only state in the India which is implementing the Uniform Civil Code is Goa. So there are different reports and different acts. Here there is a comparison between pre-independence and post-independence period. Like in pre-independence period, Lex Loci report and BN Rao committee, and post-independence period, acts like Special Marriage Act. This Special Marriage Act is applicable for both citizens and foreigners, and irrespective of the religion or faith followed by the either party. And there are different kind of arguments put forward here. There is one point to be noted. Actually, this monthly current affairs contain most of the mains related data. So as we are preparing only for the prelims, so these all data is not that much required, but there are few points which you can add up to your notes. Like for example, the UNHRC has called on India to implement a UCC. Okay, because it UCC helps establishing equality and non-discrimination. Next one is judicial pendency. Recently, Ministry of Law and Justice informed the Rajya Sabha that nearly more than 5.02 crores cases were pending in various courts in our country. So, if you look at the data of the pendency regarding the pendency of the courts, regarding the pendency of the cases in various courts, the highest being in subordinate courts 4.4 crore case, and in high court 60.6 lakh crore cases, and in Supreme Court 69.76 thousand. So there are various reasons for the pendency of cases, like for example, low ratio of judges to population, and frequent adjournments, lack of infrastructure, delayed investigation, etc. And next, initiatives taken by our Indian government to curb judicial pendency. Project Sahyog. Project Sahyog is to reduce pending cases, and LIMS, Legal Information Management and Briefing System. It is a web application to monitor cases, and Mediation Bill of 2023 provides pre-litigation mediation by parties, and e-courts, and National Litigation Policy, and administrative mechanism for resolution of the disputes to resolve interministerial and or interdepartmental disputes, fast track courts, etc. Directorate of Enforcement. Recently, the Supreme Court declared the extension of Directorate of Enforcement chief invalid. So, Director of ED chief invalid. Okay, so the third extension. So, if we look into what is this enforcement, Directorate of Enforcement, it is a multidisciplinary organization which is mandated to investigate into the economic crimes and violations on foreign exchange laws, and it works under the Department of Revenue, under Ministry of Finance, and it is headquartered at New Delhi. And the appointment of the director of the ED is as per the provisions of CVC Act 2003, and the tenure of the director of the ED should be minimum of 2 years, and the transfer has to be sanctioned by the appointing committee This appointing committee is chaired by the CVC, and the apart from the 2 year mandatory appointment period, it is the maximum of 3 annual extensions can be allowed. Okay, so under this, the third extension recently was held invalid by the Supreme Court. So the acts enforcement of different acts by ED, PMLA Act, FEMA, FEOA, and COFE POSA Act. According to the, actually this third three extensions, maximum of 3 annual extensions, was recently added through an amendment. Okay, the CVC Amendment Act of 2021 and DSPE Amendment Act of 2021 allows the chiefs of CBI and Enforcement Directorate to have these people can have an maximum of 3 annual extensions. So the powers of the Directorate of the Enforcement. Powers of the Directorate of the Enforcement, they have the power to seize the assets, and also they has the power same as a civil court, and they can also investigate and make arrests for the violation of the PMLE, and that too without waiting for the registration of a formal FIR by the police. And the statements recorded by the ED official can also be admitted as an evidence in the court, as they are not the police officials. Okay, that's it. And next one is Multi-State Cooperative Societies Amendment Bill 2023. So multi-state cooperative societies, what are these multi-state cooperative societies? And this bill is going to replace the Multi-State Cooperative Societies Act of 2002. Okay, so what are multi-state cooperative societies? These societies are registered under the, these societies are not confined, obviously the word itself states that these are not confined to a single state, so they serve the interest of the members of more than one state. And the registration of the multi-state cooperative societies are under the act through a central registrar, and the central registrar is appointed by the central government. And reorganization per se, amalgamation or some anything, the central registrar has to prepare a scheme, and that too in the direction of the central government with the prior approval of the RBI, and should be in accordance with the Banking Regulation Act of 1949. And the cabinet has approved 3 national level multi-state cooperative societies under the MSCS Act of 2002, namely the Multi-State Cooperative Export Society, and Multi-State Cooperative Organic Society, and Multi-State Cooperative Seed Society. These 3 are the national level multi-state cooperative societies. So why the new amendment bill? Okay, it's just to be inconsistent with the Part 9B, which was added through the 97th Constitutional Amendment Act, and also for the need of reforms to bring transparency and accountability, efficiency, etc. What are the key features of the bill? So the bill proposes to establish cooperative election authority, who will be appointed by the central government. Okay, this cooperative election authority conducts the elections for the board of the multi-state cooperative societies. Okay, the authority consists of the chairperson, vice chairperson, and up to 3 members who are again appointed by the central government. And the amalgamation or division of the cooperative societies. This act allows that the cooperative societies which are registered under the state laws, like the cooperative societies which are present under the state jurisdiction, they can merge into the existing multi-state cooperative societies also. So this allowed the amalgamation of cooperative societies. And for the revival of the sick cooperative societies, it established a fund. Okay, this fund, who contributes to this fund? This fund is called as a Cooperative Rehabilitation, Reconstruction and Development Fund. And who are going to contribute to this fund? Multi-state cooperative societies which are in a profit for the last 3 financial years are going to fund this fund. And they'll deposit either 1 crore rupees or 1% of their net profits into the fund, whichever is less. And restriction on redemption of the government shareholding. Earlier, the the redemption of the shares can be redeemed based on the society's bylaws, but now they cannot be redeemed without the shareholders approval. And for redressal of the complaints, cooperative ombudsmen are going to be set up, appointed. And the composition of the board of directors, maximum 21 directors with two additional directors. And the bill also includes that the board of directors should consist of one member belonging to SC or ST and two women members. Cinematograph Amendment Bill 2023. And this Cinematograph Amendment Bill 2023 is going to replace the Cinematograph Act of 1952. So this under the Cinematograph Act of 1952, CBFC, Central Board of Film Certification, was set up. And what is the CBFC? It is a statutory body under Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, and it certifies the cinematograph films and other exhibitions, and regulates those exhibitions. It consists of the non-official members and a chairman, and this need to be remembered. It comes under the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, and headquarters are at Mumbai. And it consists of 9 regional offices at Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai, Bangalore, Thiruvananthapuram, Hyderabad, New Delhi, Cuttack, and Guwahati. Okay, CBFC. So, what are the provisions specified in this bill? Age-based certification. If you look at the categories of the film certifications, there are 4 certifications. U for universal. A means without restriction, but subject to the guidance of the parents. And A means only for adults, and S means only for professionals or some particular class of people, like for example scientists, doctors, etc. So it introduces 3 age-based certifications, include UA 7 plus, 13 plus, and 16 plus. And these recommendations, these categorizations should be only recommendatory. Next, are only recommendatory. So next one, separate certificate for television or other media. And certificates to be perpetually valid. Earlier the certificates once given, they are valid only for 10 years, but now they are perpetually valid. That means there is no need for any renewal. They are valid for all the time. Next, revision powers of the central government, and makes film piracy a punishable offense. And the bill also proposes penal action in case of violation. Let's look into the news in shorts. The first being right to silence. Recently, the Supreme Court said that the accused have the right to silence, so the investigators cannot force them to speak up or admit the guilt. And this right to silence comes from the Article 20, Clause 3, which states that no one can be compelled to be a witness against himself. That means no self-incrimination. According to Article 20, Clause 3. That means no one can be a witness in his own case. So this protection is limited only to the criminal proceedings. And the Supreme Court stated in Nandini Satpathy case that compelling a person to answer a question within the limits of the police station may result in the violation of the Article 20, Clause 3. And SOPs, standard operating procedures to check the use of the freebies liquor and to lure voters. So recently, the Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs issues some standard operating procedures to limit the usage of this due to the elections. Because of the elections, what most commonly observed is this freebies and distribution of the liquor. So they gave some of the important highlights of the SOPs are like some GST and custom officials to monitor the distribution and setting up some flight squads and that etc. CBIC, Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs, is an administrative authority and under the Ministry of Finance, headquarters at New Delhi, and it consists of headed by the chairman. And next, demarcation of roles of Ministry of Corporate Affairs and Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. So, according to the demarcation, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs going to look into the only competition issues of the digital market, whereas the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology may are going to look sector specific issues. As the why this demarcation is needed now, because India's digital market is expected to touch $1 trillion by 2025 to 26. Dark patterns. Recently, the Advertising Standard Council of India, ASCI, has issued some guidelines for the dark patterns. What are these dark patterns? Dark patterns is a user interface crafted to trick or manipulate users into making choices detrimental to their interests. For example, some of the if you observe on online platforms, you can observe these kind of techniques like drip pricing. Drip pricing means they don't reveal the price and full price until the end of the buying process. And false urgency, they create they'll post on their sites like limited stock and offers valid only for this much time. They creates that creates kind of a false urgency. And distinguished ads, bait and switch, like advertising one product or service but delivering another. These are all kind of misleading advertisements called as dark patterns. So, next, quickly moving to the international relations section, India and Sri Lanka. Recently, India and Sri Lanka released a statement titled Promoting Connectivity, Catalyzing Prosperity, India Sri Lanka Economic Partnership Vision. So, when we look into the relations between the India and Sri Lanka, India helped Sri Lanka in its 2022 economic crisis by extending nearly $4 billion in food and financial assistance. So, some of the important points that are in news are India and Sri Lanka signed MOUs in operationalizing UPI digital payments in Sri Lanka, and also designating India rupee currency as for trade. And renewable energy, there are also some other MOUs signed on renewable energy, economic development projects in Trincomalee, etc. Both countries also decided to start a passenger ferry services between Nagapattinam in Tamil Nadu and Kankesanturai in Sri Lanka. So, few MOUs signed, example being UPI digital payments implementation in Sri Lanka, and passenger ferry services in between Nagapattinam in Tamil Nadu and Kankesanturai in Sri Lanka. Okay, some of the India-Sri Lanka economic and connectivity ties. Earlier in 1998, India-Sri Lanka signed this ISFTA, India-Sri Lanka Free Trade Agreement, and few of the agreements like Open Sky, Air Bubble agreements are still in existence. And also, they also participate in military exercises like Mitra Shakti and Slinex, etc. And if you look into the cultural significance, Buddhism as a religion is a common link between both the countries, and also the Tamil ties. Many Tamil people also stay in the Sri Lanka, so that is people to people connectivity. Next, that's it, not much news in that. And let's look into the India France relations. So India and France launched a Horizon 2047 framework. Horizon 2047 framework, uh, and this framework is for the next 25 years till 2047. So this Horizon framework includes sectors like defense, nuclear energy, space, and to eliminate the single-use plastics, and also 5-year Shenzhen visa. So, and based on the three pillars like security, planet, and people, and also agree to work on the critical technologies like, for example, artificial intelligence, quantum computing, etc. Okay, some of the key outcomes of the visit are joint commitment to eliminate the single-use plastic products pollution, including ban on single-use plastic products, and the roadmap for the Indo-Pacific was adopted, and the opening of the Consulate General of India in Marseille and Bureau de France in Hyderabad was also announced. This is important. Consulate General in Marseille and Bureau de France in Hyderabad. And France is going to support the second phase of the CITIIS 2.0 program along with Germany and European Union. And head-on agreement between Indian Oil Corporation Limited and Total Energies Gas Power Limited to establish a long-term LNG sale and purchase agreement. So India and France established its ties in 1947. And if you look at the ties, relations between India and France, France is the second largest exporter of the defense equipment to India. Okay, the first being Russia and the third being USA. Russia, I think it's more than 40%, and coming to France, it is around 19% of the defense imports that our country makes. And in regarding to economic cooperation, NPCI International Payments Limited and France's Lyra Collect has signed an agreement to roll out UPI in France and Europe. Okay, and also AFD has allocated 200 million euros to support the welfare measures regarding vulnerable sections in India. And they also launched, India and France together launched this International Solar Alliance. And they also agreed on a joint strategic vision on India-France cooperation in Indian Ocean region, and they also a trilateral grouping between India, France, and UAE to ensure security of the east coast of the Africa. And France recently has also joined this BRI initiative of China. That is one of the issue. Neighborhood First Policy. Recently, the Committee on External Affairs gave its 22nd report on India's Neighborhood First Policy. What is this Neighborhood First Policy? This policy is based on a consultative, non-reciprocal, outcome-oriented approach with India's neighbors, and it uses principles like Samman, Samvad, Shanti, Samriddhi, Sanskriti. And India's initiatives in neighborhood, if you look at the infrastructure projects, Dalaram to Jaranj Road and Parliament building in Afghanistan, Greater Mali Connectivity Project in Maldives, and humanitarian assistance, like for example Operation Maitri in Nepal, and developmental assistance, for example, supporting Bhutan's 5 years plans, and also rolling out UPI payment platforms in Sri Lanka and enabling Rupee cards usage in Bhutan, etc. are some of the examples. Next, India energy diplomacy. So India is considering trading power with Southeast Asian countries through Myanmar and Thailand as part of the energy diplomacy. What is energy diplomacy? Energy diplomacy pertains to some government-related foreign activities that aim to ensure countries' energy security while promoting business opportunities related to the energy sector. Okay, so how India is pursuing its energy diplomacy? In power transmission related, as part of the SARC Energy Agreement on Electricity Cooperation signed in 2014, India also signed it. Okay, regarding power transmission, India signed the SARC Energy Agreement on Electricity Cooperation, and India exports power to Bangladesh, Nepal, and Bhutan. And regarding renewable energy transmission, International Solar Alliance, One Sun, One World, One Grid Initiative, pipe, Tapi pipe connectivity, and Indo-US nuclear deal, India-Japan civil nuclear deal, and India imports power from Tala, Chukka, Kurichu, Mangadichu hydropower plants in Bhutan, and it's also involved in projects of Nepal, including Mahakali Treaty, Upper Karnali project, and Arun projects of Nepal. Okay, this was International Solar Alliance. It nearly partnered with 32 international organizations to create and mobilize $1,000 billion investment in solar sector in its member countries by 2030. Okay, And this international solar alliance was first proposed by the India only in Paris Climate Agreement, Paris Climate Meeting. India's alternative, this acts like an India's alternative model of development, like for example OSOWOG, one sun, one world, one grid. Through this, India seeks to develop a global grid of the torrid zone to overcome the issues of domestic land scarcity, import of solar inputs, and reduce reliance on fossil fuels. Strengthening multilateral development banks. Multilateral development banks. Recently, the independent expert group constituted by India G20 presidency presented Volume 1 on the report of harnessing the potential of the multilateral development banks. What are these multilateral development banks? These are supranational institutions set up by sovereign states, which are their shareholders. These states are their shareholders. Some of the prominent multilateral development banks are World Bank, Asian Development Bank, New Development Bank, Asian Infrastructure and Investment Bank, etc. The report proposed a triple agenda for the multilateral development banks. What is the triple agenda? Triple agenda of mandates, finance, and mechanisms. Triple mandates of eliminating extreme poverty, boosting shared prosperity, contributing to the global public goods. Finance, relating finance, tripling sustainable lending levels by 2030, and mechanisms, creating a third funding mechanism that permits flexible and innovative arrangements. Okay, few important points being reaching $300 billion per year in, okay, according to the recommendations given by the recommendations given by the expert committee, it also gave a recommendation that the scale of financing need to be increased, and like for example, as they have gave that tripling the sustainable lending levels of the MDB system by 2030. That means reaching $300 billion per year in own account non-concessional finance and $90 billion per year in concessional finance. And G20 members can consider establishing a new global challenges funding mechanism. Okay, Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Recently, a virtual summit of Shanghai Cooperation Organization was concluded with signing of the New Delhi Treaty. And for this year, the president was, it was India, it was under India's presidency. Like in 2023, headed by India. The summit was headed by India, and the theme being towards a secure SEO. And this secure acronym was coined by the Prime Minister of India, which includes security, economic development, connectivity, unity, respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity, and environmental protection. What is this SCO? Shanghai Cooperation Organization has its headquarters at Beijing, China, and it was founded at the Shanghai Summit in 2001 by Russia, China, Kyrgyzstan, Kyrgyz Republic, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan. If you look at the map, this is the rough map that I have drawn. If you look at this map, the founding members being those highlighted in yellow color, like the founding members being China, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and Russia. Whereas later joint members are India, Pakistan, and Iran. Iran is the recently joint member. And it consists of two permanent bodies. One is Secretariat at Beijing. The other one is RATS, which is in Tashkent. Okay, so in this meeting, Iran joined as a new permanent member of the SCO. Okay, so what does this RADS do? Regional anti-terrorist structure. Okay, it maintains a database of terrorists and terrorist organizations from across its member countries. And Kashi, Varanasi, has been declared as the first tourism and cultural capital of the SCO. Next one, Black Sea Grain Deal. What is this Black Sea Grain Deal? Recently, Russia withdrew from this Black Sea Grain Deal. So this deal was between Russia and Ukraine. Ukraine. Okay, so this deal was between Russia and Ukraine, and it was brokered by United Nations and Turkey last year. This was signed last year for a period of 120 days, for a period of 120 days, which was later extended two times. So recently, why was Russia withdrew from this grain deal? First of all, why this grain deal was signed? This was signed to tackle as there was war going between the Russia and Ukraine. The supply chains got disrupted. So for that, this grain deal was signed to ensure or to provide a safe maritime humanitarian corridor for Ukrainian exports, particularly of food grains, from three key ports, namely these three key ports. Okay, Khornomorsk, Odessa, and Pideni. Okay, I don't know how to pronounce these names, but yeah, these three are the ports. And okay, so why this Russia withdrew from this deal? Because Russia accused Ukraine that this Ukraine is not exporting most of its food grains to poor countries. Instead, it is exporting mostly to high and middle income countries. And also, Russia claims that the promises that were made to Russia that under the deal are not yet met, and Russia is facing trouble in exporting its own agricultural products and fertilizers. So that's why Russia withdrew it. Okay, so these are the ports that I was mentioning of Ukraine. That's it. And next, news in shorts. Smart power. Like if you have known about these terms, hard power and soft power. Hard power is influencing someone using the military capabilities and economic might, whereas soft power is influencing someone without using any coercive pressure. This smart power is a mix of both hard and soft power. This was also in discussion recently. That's it. Next, US India Strategic Clean Energy Partnership. US India Strategic Clean Energy Partnership. It was established as one of the two track agreements launched under the US India Climate and Clean Energy Agenda of 2030 partnership. So under this partnership, the one of the track being SEEP and the other one being CFMD. CFMD means Climate Action and Finance Mobilization Dialogue. So some of the key highlights. So recently, so what this news about? This news is about that SCEP was established as one of the two tracking engagements, the other being the CFMD. So what are the highlights of this statement released by the US and India? Okay, US and India new and emerging renewable energy technologies action platform was established. RETAP was launched, and also establishment of energy storage task force, which is public private supported, and that is to support large scale integration of renewable energy, and also launching of the phase 2 of the SAGE program. Okay, and also both sides, India and US, agree to work towards the development of net zero villages in India to support the clean energy transition, and addition of carbon capture, utilization and storage as a work stream under the emerging fuels and technology pillar. Okay, these are the pillars. Strategic clean energy partnership pillars are renewable energy pillar, sustainable growth pillar, power energy efficiency pillar, responsible oil and gas pillar, emerging fuels pillar. India and UAE. Recently, India and UAE signed a pact to trade in local currencies. Okay, so according to this pact, they signed to establish an LCSS, local currency settlement system, to promote the use of Indian rupee in UAE and UAE's dirham in India. So cross-border transactions can be done in their own currencies. Next, they also signed to agree. They also signed to agree the linking of India's UPI with UAE's instant payments platform, and they also agreed on linking card switches, Rupee switch of India and UAE switch of UAE, and they also agreed to link the messaging systems, like India's structured financial messaging system to be linked with UAE's messaging system. And they also signed an MOU to establish IIT Delhi campus in Abu Dhabi. This is going to be the second IIT Delhi campus uh, in foreign countries. The first, India signed to establish IIT Delhi campus at Tanzania. Okay, UAE is India's third largest trading partner and second largest export destination. And UAE was the first country to sign CEPA, Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, with India. BIMSTEC, Bay of Bengal Initiative of Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation. Meeting was held in 2023 in Thailand, and this was the first ever foreign ministers meeting. And the BIMSTEC was established in 1997 with its headquarters at Dhaka in Bangladesh, and it was established following the Bangkok Declaration. Initially, the BIMSTEC was called as BISTEC, was the founding countries being Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, and Thailand. Later, it became BIMSTEC with the joining of Myanmar, Nepal, and Bhutan. Okay, next one, Group of Global Crisis Response Group, GCRG. India has joined this GCRG, was set up by UN Secretary General. So India recently joined this group. So what is this group about? This group is to address the urgent and critical global issues about interlinked crisis in food security, energy, and finance. And it is overseen by the Champions Group, comprising this champion groups comprises the heads of the governments of Bangladesh, Barbados, Denmark, Germany, Indonesia, and Senegal. So that's it. It's a global level platform which addresses issues regarding the food security, energy, and finance. That's it. And clean energy ministerial and mission innovation. Recently, India hosted the 14th Clean Energy Ministerial Meeting and 8th Mission Innovation Meeting. So the theme of these meetings were advancing clean energy together. So what is this Clean Energy Ministerial? This Clean Energy Ministerial consists of 29 members, of which India is also a part. And it is a global forum to promote policies and programs that advance clean energy technology. See, clean energy means promotes clean energy transition. So it is coordinated by the independent secretariat. The secretariat was present at International Energy Agency in Paris. So about clean energy ministerial and mission innovation, high level global forum of which India is also a member, and the initiatives launched under this CEM hubs. It is a cross sectoral public private platform to de-risk the investments that are needed to invest in low and zero emission fuels to be transported by the maritime sector. Next, mission innovation. Mission innovation, it is a global initiative to make clean energy affordable, attractive, and accessible to all. And the first phase was launched alongside the Paris Agreement in 2015. And the second phase, Mission Innovation 2.2, was launched in year 2021. And this mission innovation consists of the 23 countries, including EU and India. EU and India are being its founding member countries. Okay, and funding opportunity announcement 2023 for research, development, and demonstration in CSU US, carbon capture, utilization, and storage, was announced under Mission Innovation 2.0. Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, CPTPP. So CPTPP, recently United Kingdom joined this treaty, CPTPP. What is this CPTPP? It is a free trade agreement. Is India part of this free trade agreement? No. So this free trade agreement was between 11 countries. 11 countries, that they are Australia, Brunei, Canada, Chile, Japan, Malaysia, Mexico, New Zealand, Peru, Singapore, and Vietnam. And all these 11 countries are Also APEC countries, APEC countries, Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation countries. And the UK will become the 12th member, and it will become the first European country to join this CPTPP. This early CPTPP was earlier called as Trans-Pacific Partnership (TPP), but later, the US withdrew from this TPP in 2017, and now it's being called as CPTPP. So, okay, this CPTPP is nothing but to facilitate the trade with by eliminating tariffs and reducing the barriers, and also ensuring the protection of the environment and labor rights, okay, etc. Next, European Sky Shield Initiative, ESSI. Recently, Austria and Switzerland joined this ESSI initiative, and this ESSI aims to create a European air and missile defense system through European nations, common acquisition of air defense equipment and missiles to strengthen NATO's integrated air and missile defense. This initiative was spearheaded last year by the Germany after Russia invaded Ukraine. So, NATO related countries have started this initiative. So after they are freed from the Russia's invasion on Ukraine, okay, this aim to create a European air and missile defense system. Okay, next, ESSI consists of 19 members, including, sorry, the members have increased to 19. Okay, earlier the number they haven't mentioned that much. Okay, so including Norway, Bulgaria, Czech Republic, Norway, Slovakia, and the UK. So recently, Austria and Switzerland joined this ESSI. Orkney Islands. Where are these Orkney Islands? These Orkney Islands are present or situated on the northeastern coast of the Scotland. Recently, they announced that they are going to split from the UK and going to become a self-governing territory of the Norway. And this Orkney Islands is an archipelago of 70 islands, and of which only 20 are inhabited. Okay, that's it. And next, moving to the economy section, National Multidimensional Poverty Index. This National Multidimensional Poverty Index was released by the Niti Aayog, and based on the NFHS 5 data, and this is the second edition of the National Multidimensional Poverty Index. So Niti Aayog is the nodal agency for releasing the national MPI under the GIRG initiative, Global Indices for Reforms and Growth Initiative. So the sub-indices of the National Multidimensional Poverty Index being head count ratio and intensity of the poverty. Head count ratio means how many people are, it measures how many people are poor. Intensity of the poverty means how poor are the poor. Okay, it measures that. And if you multiply the intensity and head count ratio, then the MPI value is obtained. Okay, we also have this global multidimensional poverty index versus national multidimensional poverty index. Okay, so this global multidimensional poverty index was released by UNDP in partnership with the OPHI, whereas this national multidimensional poverty index is released by the Niti Aayog. And there is a difference between both this global MPI and the national MPI regarding the number of indicators being used. Global MPI uses 10 indicators, whereas national MPI uses 12 indicators. Okay, let's look into the indicators. First dimension being the health dimension. Under health dimension, there are 3 indicators: nutrition, child and adolescent mortality, and maternal health. And under education, years of schooling and school attendance. Under standard of living dimension, cooking fuel, sanitation, drinking water, electricity, housing, assets, and bank account. So there are 12 indicators, right? Out of these 12 indicators, 2 are in Indian inventions. What are those two? Maternal health in health dimension, and bank account in standard of living dimension. Okay, so according to the National MPI report, there is a steep decline in the poverty headcount ratio in India. Earlier in 2015-16, it was 24.85%. Now it reduced to 14.96%. And nearly 13.5 crore people exited the multidimensional poverty between 2015 to 2016 and 2019. Rural areas witness the fastest decline of the poverty compared to the urban areas. And India is on track to achieve the SDG 1.2 target, that is to reduce multidimensional poverty by at least half, much ahead of the 2030. Performance of the, if you look into the performance of the different states, the top 5 states with highest share of the population with MPI are multidimensional poverty index poverty are Bihar, Jharkhand, UP, Meghalaya, and Madhya Pradesh. And with lowest multidimensional poverty people are is Kerala. And UP witnessed the largest decline in the numbers of the persons with multidimensionally poor, whereas Bihar saw the fastest reduction in the MPI value in absolute terms. And this, like I have said, this global, this global multidimensional poverty index 2023, this is released by the UNDP uh, in partnership with the OPHI since 2010. And some of the key findings of this 2023 report are 1.1 billion out of 6.6 billion people in 110 countries remain multidimensionally poor. Nearly 1.1 billion people, and nearly two-thirds of the all poor people live in middle income countries, and low income countries constitute only 10%. So middle income countries constitute nearly two-thirds of the all poor people, whereas low income countries constitute only 10%. Next, goods and services tax. Recently, the sixth GST day was celebrated with the vision of the GST 6 at 6, Sarali Samagra Vikas. So GST day is celebrated on which day? GST day is celebrated on 1st July, marking the adoption of the GST or implementation of the GST on 1st July 2017. So GST unified tax system that replaced multiple indirect taxes. And if we look into the GST structure, it follows the dual structure, the CGST and SGST. There is also IGST, which is levied by the levied on interstate supplies, which is collected by the central government and apportioned or given to the destination state. For example, if there is a trade happening between state 1 and state 2, okay, goods are traveling from this S1 to S2, okay, so on these goods the IGST being charged or collected by the central government, and then it is given to the state 2 because this is the destination state. Next, the idea of the nationwide GST was first proposed by the KLCAR Task Force on Indirect Taxes in 2000 itself. And the GST Council, which was set up under Article 279A, and it consists of the Union Finance Minister as a chairperson and representatives from all the states and union territories as its members. And the council make decisions on various aspects of the GST. Recently in 2023, the Supreme Court also gave a judgment that the decisions of the GST council are not binding on the state. Okay, this is an important term, tax buoyancy. Tax buoyancy refers to the responsiveness of the, okay, like for example, if there is an increase in national income, okay, if there is also increase in tax revenue, say, then this is called as tax buoyancy. It means with increase in national income, the tax revenue receipts also increased, okay, that is called as tax buoyancy. Okay, if we well, this GST network was a non-profit for not-for-profit company which was created to provide the IT backbone for the GST system. And this GST network is wholly owned, that is 100% shareholding held by the government, with 50% with the union government and another 50% with the state governments. And various initiatives or steps taken by the Indian government to improve GST are information sharing. Uh, Information sharing. The government amended the PMLA Act of 2000 to allow EDs to share information with the GST network. Okay, this ED also investigates relating to the crimes, economic crimes. Okay, like just now we have read in the polity section, economic crimes. So increased technology penetration, for example, Advait is a Advait, okay, Advait provides information regarding the GST. And yeah, advanced analytics in indirect taxes. It is a flagship analytics project for indirect taxes. Aims to use big data and AI to enhance indirect tax revenue, increase the taxpayer base. Okay, next, online gaming. Recently, GST Council imposed a GST of 28% on online gaming, horse racing, and casinos. So, if we look into the different types of online games, there are two types of games: game of skill and game of chance. And this game of skill, the outcome depends based on the player's expertise, whereas game of chance depends completely on randomized events. So, on this game of skill, 18% GST is levied, whereas on game of chance, 28% GST is charged. Besides these 18% and 28% GST, the central government also charges 30% of TDS, tax deducted at source, on both of these games. So recently, 28% on online gaming, horse racing, and casinos. So this tax rate of 28% is to be applied on the initial amount that is paid upon entry, and not on the total value of each bet placed. Okay, initial amount based is taxed only on the initial amount. Okay, and it covers both games of skill and chance. Tax on offshore online gaming firms. Offshore online gaming firms will have to register themselves with the GST authorities, and they have to pay the tax to offer the services to Indian gamers. And this amendment to the Integrated GST Act of 2017 will be made to enforce this act. Sorry, enforce this provision. Okay, and implications of this, what are going to be implications? With, yeah, of course the revenue is going to be increased to the government, right? It is expected to increase from 2000 crore to 20,000 crore. And online game, when we look into the demand of the online gaming industry present in India, user base has been very large because the population is also very large, and we also have youth demographic dividend in our country. So India has the largest fantasy sports market with a user base of nearly 180 million. Okay, the challenges, some of the challenges in regulating online gaming being, this online gaming is a state subject. Okay, uh, and it comes under Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology at central level. As being the state subject, there are different state laws presented. Okay, so there is kind of a jurisdictional dilemma. If had it been a central subject or something, there would be uniform law all through the country, but that is not the case. Okay, widening tax base. Next topic, widening tax base. Recently, the Ministry of Finance asked the Income Tax Department to follow the broad principles of transparency, objectivity, and taxpayer friendliness to widen the tax base. What is this tax base? Tax base means the number of people. Tax base means the number of people who pays tax regularly, called as tax base. Widening tax base means increasing the number of persons who comply in payment of taxes. So current scenario, if we look into the current scenario of taxation in India, tax to GDP ratio in India is 11.1% in financial year 2023, of which the direct taxes comprise 6% and indirect taxes comprise 5.1%. And next, tax to GDP ratio. Like tax to GDP ratio is the ratio of the tax revenue compared to the country's GDP. Okay, some of the steps taken by the government to widen tax base for regarding transparency, to increase transparency. PAN card to be linked with the bank accounts, and also Aadhaar was used for to increase objectivity. Uh, Introduction of the new TDS codes, and for taxpayer friendliness, simplified personal income tax regime and e-appeals scheme, and rollout of common IT return form was introduced. Next topic being Jan Vishwas Amendment of Provisions Bill 2023. So recently, Jan Vishwas Amendment of Provisions Bill 2023 was passed in Lok Sabha, and this aims to boost the ease of living and ease of doing business. What is this Jan Vishwas bill? This Jan Vishwas bill aims to boost ease of living and ease of doing. How? By decriminalizing nearly 180 offences across 42 laws, and also converting several fines into penalties, and removes all offences and penalties under the Indian Post Office Act of 1898. And it also changes the grievance redressal and appellate mechanism, and appoints one or more adjudicating officers. So if I'll tell you one example why this bill is that important. Because see, if there is an investor who want to set up some company, okay, then he has to go through the tedious process of going through multiple forms, multiple offices, and multiple authorities, and there sometimes he may not be even aware of few offenses that were hidden inside the laws. Okay, so this kind of different tedious law process present in our country sometimes may act as a hindrance or promoting the investment. So that's why, to promote ease of living and ease of doing business, this Jan Vishwas amendment bill was proposed. So yeah, it will help citizens and public servants to live without fear for imprisonment or for minor violations. Even for minor violations, there are some laws up to the stage of imprisonment. Okay, such need to be removed. And ease of doing business by saving cost and time. Okay, next, gig workers and gig economy. Recently, the Standing Committee on Labour, Textiles and Skill Development has asked to formulate and implement welfare schemes for the gig workers in the country. So, also, this G20 Labour and Employment Ministries meeting of 2023 concluded by adopting an outcome document on sustainable social protection for gig and platform workers. And Rajasthan state government passed a bill, platform based gig workers registration and welfare bill 2023, by providing unique ID for every gig worker in the state. So gig economy is a free market system which temporary positions are common, and it's a contract, it is based on contract with independent workers, and it's outside the traditional employer employee arrangement, and they are further classified into platform gig workers and non-platform gig workers. Platform gig workers are online gig workers, like for example Swiggy or etc. Non-platform gig workers are being daily casual wage laborers, etc. Okay, existing framework for gig economy in India. The Code on Wages 2019 Bill Act provides universal minimum wage and floor wage across organized and unorganized sectors, including the gig workers. And the Code on Social Security 2020, under this code, the Ministry of Labor and Employment recognizes the gig and platform workers through this code. Okay, next, eShram portal to create a database of unorganized workers, including the gig workers. Next, foreign portfolio investment. The SEBI released a consultation paper on a framework for mandating additional disclosures from the identified high risk FPIs. So what are these FPIs? FPIs are foreign portfolio investments. FPIs, why did in SEBI release this consultation framework on mandating additional disclosures? Because it has been done to enhance the trust in the Indian securities market. Okay, by mandating additional disclosures around ownership of and economic interest in high risk foreign portfolio investors, and also to minimize any inconvenience to the FPI ecosystem. So what is an FPI? FPI consists of two modes of investment: foreign institutional investor and qualified foreign investor. And the status of FPI in India recently, it's very fluctuating, and the net FPI in India was to the tune of 1.65 lakh crores, nearly 0.6% of the GDP. Existing provisions for the FPIs in India are they are regulated by the SEBI, like certain limits on investment, and legislative provisions being the FEMA Act and PMLA Act, and issues. Some of the issues regarding FPIs are they are very high risk, like they are also called as hot money FPI, and also flight money. Because if there is any issue in the market, Indian market, or in the domestic market, they fly. I mean, they are easily removed by the investors. And some of the issues being the circumvention of the press note 3 stipulations, PN3. PN3 requires that any entity or of a country that shares land border with India can invest only under the government route, whereas this PN3 stipulations does not apply to the FPI investments. So that is one of the issue. And categorization of the FPIs into low risk FPIs, moderate risk FPIs, high risk FPIs. Okay, different categories of FPIs. Category 1, government and government related foreign investors. Category 2, broad based and appropriately regulated, like includes trust, insurance companies, etc. Category 3 includes endowments, charitable societies, corporate bodies, trusts, family offices, and also individuals. Okay, that's it. And next with the corporate debt market. Recently, SEBI released a framework on rolling out the Corporate Debt Market Development Fund. What is this CDMDF? CDMDF is an alternate investment fund. Okay, this CDMDF will purchase the investment grade corporate debt securities during the market stress. Alternate investment fund means it refers to any privately pooled fund established or incorporated in India for investing. Okay, these funds are collected from the sophisticated investors such as angel investors, venture capitalists, etc. So this investment grade fund. Here they have mentioned investment grade corporate debt securities. What is this investment grade term means? It means refers to the quality of the company's credit. The company must be rated BBB or higher to be considered as an investment grade issue. Okay, and the objective for rolling out this fund being during the market stress, the debt markets faces redemption pressures in open market. So CDMDF will help the market by providing liquidity access in such times. So the contribution to the fund shall be mandatory for specified debt oriented mutual fund schemes and asset management companies. Okay, so this fund, okay, like I'm kind of revising. So the CDMDF established by the SEBI, it is an alternate investment fund. So funds connected from the angel investors and venture capitalists, and this is of investment grade, that means BBB or higher. It provides liquidity during stressful situations in the markets, and funding to this AIF is mandatory for specified mutual fund schemes and also asset management companies. The tenure of this fund is initially 15 years. It can be extended based on the SEBI's mandate. And corporate debt market is also called as bond market, fixed income market, or credit market. Okay, the market can be usually divided broadly into government debt market and corporate debt market. Okay, that's it. And Okay, if you look into the why corporate bonds, the CDMDF is now being set up for the corporate debt market, right? So the issue being the companies issue corporate debt markets to finance the current operations, expand product lines, or open new manufacturing facilities. So the regulation of corporate debt market is done by the SEBI, and the regulatory jurisdiction between the SEBI and RBI was clarified in 2000 by an amendment to the SEBI Act of 1956. Under this, RBI's regulatory jurisdiction includes money market and government securities. So this government debt market is regulated by the RBI, and this corporate debt market by the SEBI. Okay, next one. Okay, that's it. And the next topic is Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Amendment Bill 2023. So this was a bill recently passed by the Parliament. So it amends the MMDR Act of 1957. Under this, actually this is not the first time that MMDR Act of 1957 is being amended. Earlier in 2015 it was amended, through which District Mineral Foundation and National Mineral Exploration Trust was established, and further amended in 2016, 2020 and 2021, through which different reforms like removing the distinction between the captive and merchant mines was removed, and removing the restrictions on the transfer of mineral concessions was also done. So critical minerals are those minerals which are essential for the economic development and national security. If you remember, in the June month current affairs, I have discussed regarding the critical minerals, that the Ministry of Mines has released a list of 30 critical minerals. Please go and watch that video for further information. And next, why this why it is now again amended? Because in mining sector the FDI received is very less, and also there is a need for energy transition. India committed at various levels and various global forums. So to according to that, the energy market also need to be tapped for that. So what are the key features of the bills? It is introducing exploration license for deep seated and critical minerals. So this exploration license will be granted through an auction, and this exploration license is issued for the 5 years, and it can be extended up to 2 years by the state government. And this mining lease, the exploration agencies shall be entitled to share in the auction premium payable at the mining lease holder. This is not that much important. First of all, exploration license 5 years can be extended up to 2 years, and this exploration license will be granted through an auction. Okay, next, some of the 6 minerals are being omitted from the 12 atomic mineral list. So what is this 12 atomic minerals list? Those minerals that are under this list are reserved to be explored only by the government. Okay, if they are removed from this list, means now even these 6 minerals can be explored by the private too. Okay, so why these 60 minerals are removed from this list? Because they are important in achieving the net zero carbon emissions targets of India. So also it empowered the central government to exclusively auction the mineral concessions for the critical minerals. So regarding the auction for the critical minerals, it is exclusively done by the central government. And in this, the role of state government, the central government would conduct the auction, whereas the granting will be done granting of the license will be done by the state government, and the auction premium and other statutory payments shall also be received by the state government. Only the central government conducts the auction. Okay, next, so this increases the investment and entrepreneurship and private sector participation, speeding up the process, etc., reducing the import dependency. And next, MG Narega of 2005. So recently, the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Rural Development and Panchayati Raj tabled a report highlighting the issues and provided some recommendations on the MG Narega. Quickly going through the facts of the MG Narega, it is a centrally sponsored scheme under Ministry of Rural Development, and under this, all household members aged more than 18 years residing in rural areas are going to get at least 100 days of work, which is unskilled work. And they also have this provision of social audit done by the Gram Sabha, and this MG Narega Act is not applicable in 100% urban areas. Not applicable. Next, some of the key issues with the MG Narega, like funds and budgetary allocation, and institutional systemic issues, and issues specific to the women. Steps taken so far. Okay, the digital attendance system was mandated by the government, like through national mobile monitoring system app under MG Narega has been mandated, and also GIS based planning through Yuktadara portal, and Secure is an online application for estimating, preparing, and approving MG Narega works, and Geo MG Narega to geotag the assets that were created under the MG Narega, and also other digitalization efforts like direct benefit transfer and management information system and ombudsman app, etc. And also for the grievance redressal, okay, sorry, not grievance redressal, okay, the social audit is also being conducted, and MG Narega and National Rural Livelihood Mission are integrated for increasing the effectiveness, and other initiatives being the Project Unnati to upgrade the skill base of the MG Narega workers through providing skilling and increasing the number of the days of guaranteed work. For drought and calamity affected notified rural areas and tribal household areas in the forest areas. And a committee called as Amarjit Sinha Committee is related to the recommendations on MG Narega. So, and Mahindra Dev Committee is also regarding to this MG Narega recommendations. Next, Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. So recently, Parliamentary Standing Committee on Rural Development and Panchayat Raj released a report on Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. So according to this, nearly 96.24% under PMG Phase 1 and 97.01% under Phase 2 targets have been achieved. Okay, so what is this Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana? It was launched in the first phase, launched in 2000 under Ministry of Rural Development. It is a centrally sponsored scheme, and road connectivity project to the left-wing extremist affected areas was launched in 2016 as a subcomponent under this Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, and it is to improve connectivity in 44 left-wing affected areas in 9 states. And also online management monitoring and accounting system was also a mechanism to monitor the implementation of the Gram Sadak Yojana. And National Rural Infrastructure Development Agency, okay, works that are done under the Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana are monitored by Ministry of Rural Development through this NRIDA. So this is kind of a special purpose vehicle. So different phases: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Phase 1 is to enhance the road connectivity. Phase 2 is to upgrade the selected routes and major rural links. Target of 50,000 kilometers to be upgraded. Phase 3, for phase 3, the targets being the consolidation of the 1,25,000 kilometers of existing rural road network by upgradation of existing through routes and major rural links that connect habitations to Grameen agricultural markets, higher secondary schools, and hospitals. And the timeline. So as of now, the phase is phase 3 till March 2025. Okay, that's it. And next, NABARD. Union Minister recently stated that NABARD has worked as a backbone of the India's rural economy. What is this NABARD? So this NABARD is set up under the NABARD Act of 1981. It is a statutory body based on the recommendations of the B. Sivaraman Committee, set up in 1982. And what are its functions? It agriculture credit functions of RBI and refinancing the institutions. So it is administered by the Ministry of Finance and it is wholly owned by the Government of India. So it's some of its functions. It is a development bank of the nation. Some of the non-credit related functions and credit related functions, supporting the financial inclusion efforts and promotion of the livelihood opportunities of the micro enterprises, support research and development. Credit related functions being providing the refinancing to lending institutions, like for example NABARD directly doesn't lend to the public. Okay, it refinances the institutions. Which types of institutions? Like for examples, banks or some other rural agencies, etc. And these institutes are going to give loans to the public. So it is a refinancing agency. Okay, so some of the contributions of the NABARD. Around 5 lakh crore has been sanctioned under the country's Rural Infrastructure Development Fund, which was created by the NABARD. And Watershed Development Fund and Tribal Development Fund are also some of the interventions. And the Wadi model uh, under the Tribal Development Fund is an important model. And strengthening of the rural finance institutions. So it supervises rural cooperative banks and regional rural banks, etc. Apart from NABARD, various agencies including the commercial banks, RRBs, cooperative small finance banks, NBFCs, microfinance institutes, and indigenous bankers together form India's rural credit delivery system. Okay, some of the initiatives that were taken to increase the financial inclusion are lead bank scheme, priority sector lending, self-help group bank linkage program, Kisan credit card scheme, Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, etc. Livestock sector. Department of Animal Husbandry and Dairying under Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying has launched first ever credit guarantee scheme. So this credit guarantee scheme aims to provide credit to the MSMEs that are engaged in the livestock sector, and this will be under the Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund. And the DAHD, Department of Animal Husbandry and Dairying, has established a credit guarantee fund trust of 750 crores, which will provide credit guarantee coverage of up to 25% of the credit facilities that are extended to the MSMEs. Okay, so yeah, DAHD, first ever credit guarantee scheme for credits to MSMEs, and it is under a HIDF and credit guarantee fund trust of 750 crores to provide credit guarantee up to 25%. That's it. What is this AHIDF? Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund scheme is a central sector scheme under Atmanirbhar Bharat stimulus package. It provides an interest subvention of 3% and loans up to 90% of the total project cost. Okay, are also paid by this through this fund. So incentivizes farmers and MSMEs, farmer produce organizations, etc., and Section 8 companies to establish dairy processing, meat processing, breed improvement technology, veterinary facilities, animal waste, etc. Key government initiatives for livestock sector are National Livestock Mission to promote entrepreneurship development in poultry, sheep, goat, and piggery, and Rashtriya Gokul Mission to protect or conserve the indigenous bovine breeds. Livestock Health and Disease Controlled Initiative to give vaccines, strengthen the surveillance of veterinary related infrastructure, and pricing of agricultural produce. Recently there is a rapid increase in the retail price of the tomatoes. Tomato production, if you see, India grows two significant crops of tomato. What is Rabi crop and Kharif crop? Winter and in rainy. Okay, Rabi crop mainly grown in Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Andhra Pradesh. Kharif crop mainly grown in Madhya Pradesh, UP, Maharashtra, and others. So some of the important viruses or diseases that attack tomato plants are cucumber mosaic virus, tomato mosaic virus. Next, mechanism for price monitoring and control. This is important. The price monitoring division. The price monitoring division of the Department of Consumer Affairs monitors the prices of selected essential commodities. What is this? What are these essential selected commodities? Okay, these are the 22 essential commodities of the price monitoring, which are monitored by the price monitoring division of the Department of Consumer Affairs. So Operation Greens was launched on the similar lines of the Operation Flood, and under it 22 perishable crops are covered. Okay, these are the 22 essential commodities: food grains, pulses, edible oils, vegetables, and other items like sugar, gur, milk, tea, salt, etc. Essential Commodities Act of 1955 empowers the central government to control the production, supply, distribution, trade, and commerce of the certain commodities. Those mentioned under this act, the list. So the act can impose stock limits on essential commodities to regulate their price and availability in the market. Farm mechanization. Standing Committee on Agriculture, Animal Husbandry, and Food Processing recently tabled a report on the research and development in the farm mechanization for small and marginal farmers. So what is this farm mechanization? Means development and use of the machines that can replace the human and animal power. So when we look at the figures of the level of the mechanization across various states in our country, the highest being in UP, Haryana, and Punjab, and the least being in northeastern states. So the total level of mechanization in India is 47% only, whereas in China it is 59%, and in Brazil it is 75%. And DBT portal was also launched to approve the equipment or machines that are procured by the individual farmers or even custom hiring centers. Next, other government initiatives taken for promoting the farm mechanization are submission on agriculture mechanization under Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare to provide training to the farmers, and this is now currently merged into Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana. In custom hiring centers were also set up under this SMAM, submission on agriculture mechanization, through which cooperatives and farmer producer organizations are provided subsidies. Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare recently launched several technology-based initiatives under the PMFBI, Fasal Bima Yojana. Some of them being WINS portal. WINS portal, it collects the weather data at taluk level, gram panchayat levels. Okay, so it helps in making risk assessment and decision making. And YESTIC manual. YESTIC and manual means yield estimation system based on technology. So by implementing the technologies, so the yields, accurate insights into the yields at gram panchayat level can be known. Next, door-to-door enrollment app, aid or Sahayak. So that is to ensure seamless and transparent process and making crop insurance more accessible and convenient to the farmers. Next, being global regulatory framework for crypto asset activities. Recently, the Financial Stability Board finalized a regulatory framework for the crypto asset activities. So framework is based on the principle of the same activity, same risk, and same regulation, and the framework consists of two high level recommendations, one for the crypto asset activities and markets and the other for the global stable coin arrangements. So what are these stable coins? Stable coins are the cryptocurrency whose value is pegged at the price of another asset, and but this framework does not include the CBDCs, okay, central bank digital currencies. Okay, what is this Financial Stability Board? Headquartered at Basel of Switzerland, established under in 2009 under G20, and India is also a member, comprises of the central banks, finance ministries, and other supervisory authorities of G20 countries. And FSB is not a treaty based organization and its decisions are not legally binding. Global minimum tax. Recently, 138 countries, including India, agreed to implement the global tax deal. Okay, so this OECD earlier also introduced this BEPS, base erosion and profit shifting, in 2013. Base erosion and profit shifting refers to the tax planning strategies that MNCs use to exploit the gaps and mismatches in tax rules. So loopholes in tax rules. Loopholes in tax rules are used by the MNCs to transfer their profits. So thereby causing base erosion. So I advise you to go through this concept detail. If you want to watch it, I've uploaded in the PT365 updated part video earlier, and in that especially I've made a video on economy related section, and in that I have detailedly explained about this BEPS concept. So once go through that video. So tax avoidance is not illegal, whereas tax evasion is illegal. So this OECD G20 inclusive framework provided a two-pillar solution for the MNCs to pay the taxes where they operate and earn. Under this pillar one, 25% of the profits of the largest profitable MNCs above set margin would be reallocated to the market jurisdictions where MNC users and customers are located. So 25% of profits to the countries where users or customers are located, largest users and customers. So to which MNCs? Largest MNCs. And pillar 2 seeks to ensure that large MNCs pay at least global minimum tax of 15% regardless of their jurisdiction, and this global minimum tax will come into effect in the year 2024, and by 2025 nearly 90% of the MNCs having revenues more than 750 million euros will be subject to the levy. And OECD was established in the year 1961, and earlier it was called as OEEC, and it was established in 1948 to administer the Marshall Plan of the European Reconstruction. India is not a member of the OECD. And some of the publications of the OECD are flagship like International Migration Outlook, OECD Better Life Index, etc. Global Survey on Digital and Sustainable Trade Facilitation, UNESCPA, UNESCAP. UNESCAP recently released this Global Survey on Digital and Sustainable Trade Facilitation, and it is a biannual survey on trade facilitation, and it covers the WTO Trade Facilitation Agreement and some other 60 trade facilitation measures. And according to the data, India's score increased from 93.55% earlier India's score was 90.32%, now improved to 93.55%, and India is being one of the best performing country amongst all countries in South Asian region. And India also achieved some of the 100% in few key areas like transparency, formalities, institutional arrangement and cooperation, and paperless trade. There is also an improvement in the area women in trade facilitation component in India. Earlier it was 66.7% only, now increased to 77.8%. Some of the initiatives undertaken by India earlier for this improvement are Turant Customs, Swift, E-Sanchit, etc. UNESCAP headquarters at Bangkok, established in 1947, and it is one of the 5 regional commissions of the United Nations. India is also a member. A World of Debt report. UNCTAD released this report. According to this, it calculated the public debt. Public debt means the debt that is borrowed by the government. Okay, so global public debt increased faster in developing countries. Okay, and the developing countries rely mostly on the private creditors to obtain debt, and the factors behind the rise in public debt being cascading crisis on development, for example the COVID-19 pandemic, international unequal international finance architecture, like becoming the taking loan has become expensive to some of the small and developing countries. So UNCTAD headquarters at Geneva, India is also a member, and it is a permanent intergovernmental body established at the UN General Assembly in 1964. And some of the reports released by the UNCTAD are Trade and Development Report, Digital Economy Report, Technology and Innovation Report, etc. Mahila Samman Saving Certificate. This is very very important scheme. So recently the government permitted the public sector banks and some of the eligible private sector banks to implement this scheme. So what is this scheme? This scheme was launched in 2023. According to this scheme, it is aiming to provide the financial security to the young girls and women in India, thus thereby enabling the financial inclusion. And it is a small savings scheme, and it is available for subscription in post offices and even some eligible scheduled banks. The account can be opened under Mahila Samman Savings Scheme on or before March 31st, 2025 for a tenure of 2 years, and it can be opened by a woman for herself, or if it is a minor girl, the guardian has to open it, and the deposit made should be minimum of 1000 rupees and maximum limit of 2 lakh rupees, and they can get an interest of 7.5% per annum, which will be compounded quarterly. And the maturity of the investment under this scheme is 2 years, but after 1 year 40% of the withdrawal of the 40% of the balance can be withdrawn, and all the earnings under this scheme are taxable, but however TDS is not deducted under this scheme. Twin balance sheet problem means if there is a company, okay, it took a lot of loans from a bank, okay, but it is having high NPAs, and it is not in a position to pay back to the bank. So this company's bad balance sheet is now affecting the bank's balance sheet, because bank is also at loss. So this is called as twin balance sheet problem. So recently the finance minister stated that India has moved away from the twin balance sheet problem. Okay, so that's it. And next, centralized information management system, CIMS. Recently this CIMS is a platform for data mining, text mining and statistical analysis, which was rolled out by the RBI. So what does this CIMS do? CIMS do is it collect all the data related to the collects all the data, and it will be made publicly available for the public usage, okay, for statistical analysis by the external users. Initially it will be started by the data reported from the commercial banks. Later it will be extended to urban cooperative banks and non NBFCs too. RBI established its first enterprise-wide data warehouse, CDBMS, Central Database Management System, in 2002. Project Wave. Indian Bank has started this initiative, Project Wave. Project Wave means World of Advanced Virtual Experience, in collaboration with the National E-Government Services Limited, and under it an electronic bank guarantee service is also being introduced to provide a paperless process. Export Preparedness Index of 2022. Export Preparedness Index was released by the Niti Aayog, and this is the third edition of this report. And this report was released by the Niti Aayog in collaboration or in association with the Institute for Competitiveness, and It ranks as sector specific and district level trends, and it includes four pillars being policy, business ecosystem, export ecosystem, and export performance. And the states are classified as coastal, landlocked, Himalayan, and UTs are small states. If we look into the coastal states, the findings being Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, and Karnataka are top states. Uh, and in landlocked category, Haryana, Uttarakhand, and Goa topped the list. And over 99% of the districts are covered under the one district one product scheme, and 10 commodities account nearly 80% of the India's exports, and only 100 districts are responsible for nearly 87% of the exports, and 49% of the India's exports go only to 10 destinations. So by looking all this data, we can just definitely say that there is a skewed trade, that is skewed exports promotion at different states at India. So PLI 2.0 scheme for IT hardware was launched. So this was approved by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. So earlier it was launched phase 1, and now this is phase 2. So under this IT hardware manufacturing ecosystem is going to be strengthened, which includes laptops, tablets, all-in-one PC servers, ultra small form factor manufactured in India, semiconductor design, IC manufacture, integrated chips manufacturing and packaging, etc. So the base year for the computation for the sales, so this PLI scheme works based on the number of the sales. So the base year being 2022 2023. Okay. So the incentive period is for 6 years. Eligibility being based on the sales. Bhumi Samman Award 2023. Recently, Ministry of Rural Development presented this Bhumi Samman Award, and 9 state secretaries have received this. What is this Bhumi Samman Award? It's related to the digitalization of the land records. So at different state levels, what are the programs being taken up by the state governments for digitalization of the land records? For example, Dharani portal in Telangana, as per se. So likewise, different state secretaries were awarded under this award. So this digital India land records modernization program is a central sector program, and it's under Ministry of Rural Development, and it has been extended for 5 years for modernization of the land records. So some of the initiatives taken for the improving land governance are ULBIN or BUADA, which is a 14-digit alphanumeric unique ID generated based on the latitude longitude, and Swamitwa scheme, property cards are being given to village household owners. Next is Standing Committee on Statistics. Earlier, the Standing Committee on Statistics was known as SCES, Standing Committee on Economic Statistics. Recently, this Ministry of Statistics and Programming Implementation replaced this SCES with SCOS. So this Standing Committee on Statistics is going to have a broader mandate to review the framework and results of all the surveys that are conducted under the National Statistical Office, and it has 10 official members and 4 non-official members. And National Statistical Commission will have the ultimate authority to approve the publication of the survey results. Industrial license. Recently, this DPIIT has extended the validity period of industrial license from 3 years to 15 years. Okay. So, earlier the industrial license period was valid only for 3 years. Okay. Now it is being extended to 15 years. So, after extension, for example, if even after obtaining industrial license, if a company has not started in the 15 years, then it will be given another not commenced within the 15 years, then it will be given another extension of 3 years. But even after giving this 3 years extension and it has not started in 15 plus 3, that is 18 years, even after obtaining the industrial license, the company has not started its production activities, then within this 18 years, then it can be considered as an automatically lapsed. That means the license that was given to this company, so and so company, will be automatically lapsed. That's it. So electric freight vehicles. So recently this Niti Aayog launched this E-Fast India. So it is the country's first electric freight platform to promote the transition towards a cleaner freight transportation. Okay. Some of the schemes that were taken, initiatives taken by the India for energy transition are NEMMP, National E-Mobility Mission Plan, LEEP, Logistics Efficiency Enhancement Program, and FAME to Subsidy Scheme, and state level policies such as Deliver Electric Delhi. Next, security related. So recently, Standing Committee on Finance released crime about the white collar crimes. Okay, so according to the report given by the Standing Committee, there are multiple agencies and bodies that are responsible with the distinctive roles to look after the cyber security in our country. So because of this presence of these multiple agencies and bodies, the regulations and the powers can also get dispersed. So because of this, there is no unified direction, or there is no unified action taken so far. So that is the issue that was highlighted by this report. And also, most of the service providers have the data centers outside the country, hence seeking data from the outside countries has also remained a challenge. Some of the existing framework for the cyber security in our country is Information Technology Act of 2000 and CERT-In, which was established under the IT Act of 2000, and National Cyber Security Policy of 2013, and National Center of Excellence in Cyber Security, and I4C, India Cyber Crime Coordination Center, and NCIIPC, National Critical Information Infrastructure Protection Center, and Cyber Swachhata Kendras for detection of the malicious programs, and ISEA, Information Security Education Awareness Project, to create awareness and provide training regarding to the information security, and National Cyber Security Strategy of the 2020. Okay, according to the report, there is an increase in cyber attacks. Okay, certain highlights India encountered considerable number of cyber security incidents in 2022, with a total of 13.91 lakh reported cases, and the top 3 industries that were affected by the malware being banking, government, and manufacturing. And also there is an increase in the number of the ransomware attacks, nearly 53% increase in the 2022. Okay, and majorly affected sector being IT and IDES, second followed by the finance and manufacturing. Okay, and international convention, as of now, the only international legally binding convention regarding the cybercrime being Budapest Convention, of which India is not yet a member. India didn't sign it. And CERT-In also has released some of the guidelines regarding information security practices for government entities. Okay, it is applied to different ministries, departments, and offices of the government. Okay, the guidelines states that if there is any security breach, it should be reported within 6 hours, and mandatory security audit should be conducted for every 6 months, and employees should be logged out when it is inactive for more than 15 minutes. Okay, the admin access to the system has to be given only with the approval of the Chief Information Security Officer. And CFCF RMS, Citizen Financial Cyber Fraud Reporting Management System. According to the Ministry of Home Affairs, nearly 570 crores has been saved using the CFCF RMS. What is the CFCF RMS? This CFCF RMS is a has been operationalized as a national helpline to report all sorts of the financial frauds immediately, okay, by the public. So it has been made operational by the Indian Cyber Crime Coordination Center, I4C, okay, to integrate the law enforcement agencies, banks, and financial intermediaries. Like for example, if there is any fraud happen to me, then I can immediately inform through this system, so that this system integrates the various in and various actors like enforcement agencies, banks, financial intermediaries, and the system was established by the I4C. GIMEX is a bilateral Japan-India maritime exercise which was held at Visakhapatnam. Salvex is a India and US Navy exercise which was conducted at Kochi. And Operation Southern Readiness. Operation Southern Readiness is an annual multinational exercise between India, USA, Italy, UK, and Seychelles. And Nomadic Elephant 2023 is a joint military exercise between India and Mongolia. So, okay, this is a part one of the July month current affairs. Okay, thank you.